Hello, how are you doing? My name is Otto and welcome back to the channel. This over here is a new camera by Insta360. It's called Insta360 X3 and I'm happy that they finally removed the one in the middle of the name. In this video, we're going to talk about this camera, the good, the bad, and some small details that you probably don't know about this camera that most people will not tell you. Insta360 did not send me this camera, but regardless, you can always expect me to give an honest opinion on my channel about any device. So let's talk about this camera because I'm not sure if this new Insta360 X3 is a 360 camera trying to compete against action cameras or if this is an action camera that can do 360 videos. The main feature of this camera is that it can shoot in 360 degrees thanks to the two cameras that it has on each side. And the wonderful thing about it is that it doesn't matter how you point your camera, the camera will be able to see everything around it. And it gets very convenient since you don't have to worry about pointing and shooting like you have to do with other regular cameras. In fact, you're going to be able to reframe what the camera captured when you use the app on your smartphone or on your computer. You can also select to use only one of the two lenses, and this is where this becomes kind of like an action camera, and it becomes somehow easier to handle because you don't need to reframe anything. What you see on the screen is what you get. And this is not like the 360 mode where you get the special files that you need to edit and then export on the app. When you use the single lens mode, you get a simple MP4 video file that is ready to be used or to be shared. The build quality seems to be good and this camera feels solid and rough. It is waterproof up to 10 meters, but my biggest concern with these cameras has always been the two lenses that it has on each side since they are easy to scratch or damage. Inside this box you get this pouch, but I recommend that you buy this rubber lens cap, which is a little bit more versatile than the pouch. Compared to the One X2, one of the biggest improvements that you can see right away is the big 2.29 inches screen made with tempered glass. This makes this camera easier to use to navigate the menus and change the different settings. The one thing I don't like about the screen is that sometimes it doesn't feel so responsive and there is a bit of a delay on the video feed when you're looking at the screen. The camera has a weight of 180 grams and now it has more physical buttons, and that's a good thing to have, I guess, right? On the right side we have the power button, and next to the power button we have a Q button which opens a quick menu to access different camera modes that you can customize with your favorite settings, and you can have 5 different camera modes available. Below the screen we have the record button on the left side, and then on the right side we have this button to select 360 mode or single mode camera. And all the physical buttons and the ones on the screen, they have a nice vibration feedback. On the left side of the camera, we can open this to access the USBC port, mainly to charge the device or to connect the camera to your computer. But you can also buy special accessories and connect them to this port. For example, there is a mic adapter to connect an external microphone, and they also sell a quick reader to improve the transfer speed between your smartphone and the memory card. Transfer times are supposed to be fast, even faster than the One X2, and I can't remember the transfer times on the X2, but between my Samsung Galaxy and the new X3, it took over an hour to transfer 22 minutes of video time. I mean, do you consider that to be fast enough? Because I sure don't think so. Below the USB-C port we have this compartment that holds the battery, and this is also where you insert your microSD card. The battery is bigger than before and it will run for about 1 hour and a half, and charging the battery will take about the same amount of time. If you're planning to use this when you travel, or if you need to use it for longer periods of time, you should consider buying an extra battery. They are $35 and they are easy to carry around. But the one accessory that you have to buy is a selfie stick like this one, as this will help you to get all kinds of shots with the camera And the great thing about it is that it gets invisible to the camera. The Insta360 X3 can shoot 360 videos at 5.7K, which is the same as the older Insta360 One X2. But now, this camera has a bigger half-inch sensor which does provide better image quality, a higher dynamic range, and a higher bitrate at 120 megabits per second. If you want to use this as an action camera using one lens only, you can shoot at 4K at 24 or 30 frames per second. 5.7K sounds very impressive for a camera like this, but there is a catch. 5.7K is the resolution that you get when you have the whole 360 video. The problem is that when you select a portion of this 360 video and when you export that to have a flat video, you will not get the full 5.7K resolution. And that means that you end up having something between 1080p and 4K. For photography, you can take 360 photos at 72 megapixels, but as I explained before, 72 megapixels is the whole area that you capture, but if you reframe this to make it flat, then you will get a lower resolution picture. And what the heck is this? I look like a monster. I think that the only good reason to use this for pictures is to take advantage of having 360 photos that you can use on different platforms like Facebook, for example. But nowadays, the smartphones do take very good pictures anyway, But using this for videos, that's a completely different story. Putting aside what I told you about the 5.7 resolution and all that, I think that Insta360 is a company that have been trying to improve their cameras, and the new Insta360 X3 is a good example of this. And I would even dare to say that this is the perfect or almost the perfect example. This is a camera that can bring so much to the table, with features like the improved electronic stabilization called flow state, which works great, making your videos look like they were shot with a gimbal. There is a new HDR mode for improved dynamic range, although the downside is that there are no manual controls, so you can't control the shutter speed or the ISO, and you can't even change the color profile. The only setting that you can change is the white balance, but the results seem to be quite good. Bullet time is this video mode where you swing the camera around. It's not something new, but now it can shoot at 4K at 120 frames per second or 3K at 180 frames per second. Time lapses have been improved and now you can shoot them at 8K. But don't forget that 8K is going to be for the whole 360 view. The internal microphone has been improved as well, and I am actually surprised at the quality that it now has. I mean, internal microphones are not supposed to be good after all. There's a new feature called Me Mode, and here you use the selfie stick and you can capture yourself at 24 or 60 frames per second. The advantage of this mode is that there is no need to reframe your shot, and this will keep you in the frame all the time. But what I didn't like about this feature is that you need to hold the selfie stick with the camera like this, so holding it in tight spaces or where it's crowded is not really a good idea. The Insta360 app is essential for the X3 camera, as this is where most of the magic takes place to improve the experience that you get after you shoot your videos. With the app, you will be able to edit your videos and pictures and use a bunch of features that will make your content unique. If you're going to use this for the first time, you will need some patience to learn how to properly edit on the app. If you have previous experience editing videos, then learning to use this should be faster, since the editing process relies on keyframes to change, for example, how the camera moves around, the field of view, and the rotation of the camera. The app also lets you do basic editing, like changing the aspect ratio, the speed of the video to make it faster or slower, apply filters or LUTs to the video, and also do basic adjustments like exposure, contrast, saturation, and so on. Insta360 also added a few interesting features like the auto frame feature, which you can use to let the app automatically select the best framing. Deep Track 2.0 is their tracking system that lets you pick a person, animal, or moving object, and the AI will keep them in frame. And one of my favorite features that they keep improving is the shot lab, which are kind of like presets that are fun to use, like the new sky swap that lets you change the sky on your video, but this can only be applied to 15 seconds of your video. So I do like the improvements that they did to this camera, and I have plans to use it during the few next weeks to compare it to other action cameras that have been released during the past days. If you are going to buy this in the next few weeks, I will also have a video tutorial on how to use this camera. So make sure to follow this channel if you want to see that kind of content in the future. Also, don't forget to like this video, and I really hope that you're having an amazing day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!